Welcome back. There has been a slight change in our lineup for the morning. The Prime Minister of Belize will be joining us for our second and third segments respectively.
Yes.
For our first segment this morning, we have been joined by the Director of Civil Aviation, none other than Nigel Carter. Good morning.
Good morning.
And he has been joined by Mike Farman. He is Director of Engineering at Deep Blue Avionics. Good morning, Mr. Farman. And in the middle is Terry Folsom. She's also the Director of Procurement at Deep Blue Avionics.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Let's begin by talking first of all about Civil Aviation Week and what this means for stakeholders in that sector.
All right, so we're celebrating Civil Aviation Day on the 7th of December. The theme for civil aviation is advancing innovation for global aviation. We believe that aviation plays a huge role in Belize's economy and Belize's socioeconomic growth. Right now, aviation and aviation-related activities, generally tourism, accounts for just about 45% of GDP. And just understanding that, it gives you a good idea of how important aviation is to Belize. And we feel that it can do a lot more, right? Insofar as innovation, we're just finalizing the installation of the new primary radar, which should help us both on the safety and security side. We are also investing in upgrading our air traffic control facilities. So over the next 3 years, we're going to be putting in a lot of technological innovations so that we can make the skies over Belize safer. But we also believe that we have to look back a little bit at the human potential and the human side of it. We believe, again, as I mentioned, aviation can play an important role in Belize's socioeconomic growth. And so we believe that enriching our children, teaching the youth, the next generation of aviation will create more aviation professionals so that we can enjoy the benefits of what aviation can bring. We are looking to partner with different entities, such particularly in the education side. We've had few discussions with the Ministry of Education, and we're looking to put in place different programs so that we can have aviation professionals develop. I think St. John's College has already invested in a civil aviation management program, but also we want to look at the technical side. And so one of the companies that we've partnered with, or we're partnering with, is Deep Blue Aviation. Deep Blue Aviation is a company that is invested in Belize, primarily in developing a repair organization. They're on their way right now in developing one and certifying one with the Belize Department of Civil Aviation. And also they're looking at education opportunities as well, because again, there is a shortage of aviation professionals worldwide. And so there absolutely is a need. We're looking at aviation to grow by almost 2 or 3-fold. Even Belize, the numbers are looking by within the next 20 years to triple. And so definitely there is a need for aviation professionals. And again, by starting now, we can have them prepared for then. So again, we've partnered with Deep Blue Aviation, and they're here to speak a little bit about what they're looking to bring to Belize and the aviation community in Belize.
So let's get some background on Deep Blue then. We'll begin with you.
Okay, Deep Blue Avionics, we're a Belize company. Currently what we're doing is aircraft engineering and certification, but we're looking to expand that role to where we can work on people's airplanes. To do that, we need trained, qualified people. And as Mr. Carter said, there's a global shortage. And so if we can bring education to Belize to produce those trained individuals, they can not only support the Belize Aviation Initiative, but in the United States, in Europe, all over the world. But that key is a trained, approved person. And that is something we're working with a U.S. school called Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. We've been talking to them about opening a class here or a school here in Belize City or in the mainland somewhere. I personally have been doing this for 40 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Long time.
What does it take for us to be able to establish a training facility for aviation mechanics and persons who are interested in this particular field of work?
We have to be approved by the BCA or approved by, say, the United States FAA. There's rules and guidelines of what you have to teach. The school is anywhere from 12 to 18 months. They teach you things like basic electricity, math, how to work on aircraft structures, the actual airframe, engines of all sorts, avionics, which is what we do, wiring, all that kind of stuff. Then you take a test with Mr. Carter's group, and they issue here in the Belize it's called an engineer's license. In the United States it's an A&P, airframe and power plant mechanic license. And that gives you the authority to work on, say, a U.S. registered airplane.
Yeah.
This is really exciting in the sense that we have kids that grew up that say they want to work on an airplane or they want to be engineers, and this sort of trainingship would allow them to actually fulfill this kind of skill. Talk to us about how this particular collaboration came to be, Mr. Nigel.
Wow. So we've been working with Deep Blue for a while back. They had approached us insofar as trying to see what they could do about setting up the repair organization. Again, the repair organization is basically to look at certain parts, repairing these parts and then shipping them outside of the country. So we had that discussion, but eventually it evolved into something that we believe is a lot greater. Again, when you look at this worldwide shortage, there currently are, outside of Belize, certain airlines that are in need of aviation mechanics and pilots. And so we were discussing the possibility of setting up a repair facility here in Belize to repair large aircraft. And so basically to repair a large aircraft, you're looking at a couple hundred people employed just to repair it. We look at our friends down in El Salvador, and with 10 hangars, they have about 4,000 people employed. You know, and so you look at very many meaningful jobs, and they're not low-paying jobs because you're fixing an aircraft. And so anything that, as long as it involves an aircraft, it goes up a little bit.
Specialized.
So it's specialized work, and so we felt that it is important that we support an initiative like that. If you look back a little bit, Belize is interested in setting up an aviation hub, an airport city hub. One of the aspects is it's not something that happens overnight. It's a 15-20 year program. Because it's an all-of-government approach that you need to take of it. It's not just aviation approving things. You don't build an airport and they will come, but you really have to work at it. So one of the initiatives within that is maintenance and setting up a hangar that you could employ, 1,000 people over time, and repairing large aircraft. Again, these airlines from the United States, from other countries, will send their aircraft over here to your country as long as you're a certified facility and one that meets their standards. They will come to you and they will send the aircraft to be repaired, and it's again, it's very many high-paying jobs. So considering that both these initiatives sort of aligned, and considering that it's a long-term program, we said we figured it's a very good initiative to work with a company like this, insofar as starting to prepare people that will eventually come back and take part in such a prestigious employment.
And I think if you don't mind me interjecting, an idea that stemmed from flying into the airport for the first time and only seeing GSE or ground services equipment, but not seeing a legitimate contract maintenance repair station. That was what sparked the idea. And then we fell in love with the culture. We fell in love with the country. It is the most warm and inviting place that we've ever been to. So we now own property here. So Belizeans have welcomed us with open arms, and we now consider this a second home. But what began as a repair station and what we are trying to establish, then became sort of a humanitarian mission, said modestly. The potential students that we've spoken to, that we've taught courses to, they are hungry, they are starving for information, they are well educated, they are brilliant human beings, male and female, so very diverse. And so that's what led into conversations with Mr. Nigel Carter and Miss Diane from the Ministry of Education as well, who I hear is a local celebrity on this show. Not to say anything, I'm sure you're on a lot as well. But they have been instrumental, CEO Kennedy Carrillo as well, in really moving this further down the path so that we can talk about teaching the masses with subject matter experts. Our network is global. We have over, you said 40, I have a 30, so that sounds awful. That tells you my age, but over 70 years of experience in aviation and aircraft. So the objective is for Mike to teach, to pull in various engineers, and then to also pull in Embry-Riddle as a consultant.
What would be some of the requirements or prerequisites, if you will, for students that would like to be a part of this program?
So globally, the English is the language of aviation. So read and write English, speak English. You don't have to be a native speaker, but need to be able to read, write, and understand it. Then there's the school, which again is multiple disciplines. And then you take the exam, which is, in the United States, is like 100 questions.
Should be pretty much the same here.
Yeah. Mr. Carter's is the same way. The European Aviation Safety Association, agency rather, is EASA. It's the same way. And really it's a desire to learn. We can take somebody that today was sweeping the floor, and in a year they'll be working on an airplane.
Why is there a shortage of aviation mechanics and what have you? What would you say attributes to that shortage?
All the old people like me are retiring. And so the younger generation's not interested. In the United States or Europe aren't interested in working on airplanes. But here in Belize, for example, every place we go, we mention this, they want to learn.
From customs all the way through. Everyone that we meet. And now, because we've gone through some rebranding for the company, we are starting to see the traction that we've created on social media.
Go ahead, Mike. Not only that, but globally there's been more wealth. And so more people have access to traveling by air. And believe it or not, before COVID, the prices of air travel was coming down as well. They've gone up because there's been some contraction now, because we lost people to COVID. There were a lot of retirements, furloughs, and so forth. But more people are having access to travel now, and so all the forecasts look at 4% plus per year, insofar as growth and people accessing flying. And so there's a huge demand for that. Additionally, whereby you would have aircraft moving to 2 or 3 points, you're getting a lot of point-to-point travel now. So you get a lot of Miami to Belize or smaller markets to Belize. Some small cities that want to operate direct flights to Belize. And so you're seeing that there's a need for more aircraft in the sky now. And obviously there's more aircraft, need for more pilots, need for more engineers as well.
Support staff as well. Think about all the people that it takes. 50 employees.
There's a general rule of thumb that if you have a 737, it takes 50 people to support one airplane.
Wow.
And that's not just mechanics. That's admin. That's parts people. That's everybody that you could think of to support an airplane. And for those interested, we have a website, deepblueavionics.com, and there's a link on there to fill out a form and send it to us. We're building a database of people interested, and as we move forward, we'll be sending out information to that that database.
And that could be potential students that are interested in taking a vocational curriculum in the basic course, 18th to 24-month program in aviation to become an aircraft technician. Or that could be academic institutions, which is what we would like to mention as well. We have spoken to a handful and are trying to determine what would be the proper location. You know, you have to think about real estate space, you have to think about teleconferencing options. We'll have a lot of people learning from various instructors at Embry-Riddle University, maybe in Sao Paulo, maybe in another part of the world in the States. But then our people will be there as well to train the trainers or train the instructors in various disciplines.
Let's talk about scholarships then.
I would love that. Yeah, I would love that. Okay. I was really hoping you would touch on that.
Well, yeah, because a specialized course or a training like this, not everybody can afford to take it. So let's talk about some scholarships that are being offered.
That is the biggest concern.
Yes.
That is where we need your help. And it's important to have a moment to talk about where's the money going to come from once we find an academic institution, we have everything set up. Where's the money going to come from? Some of these students have to choose between a bus or lunch.
Yeah.
And we sympathize with that and we want to support in every way possible. The funding could be coming from foreign operators. The funding could be coming from private donors. Also from manufacturers or dealerships. And what I mean by that is the components that you see in the flight deck are people like Collins Aerospace, Garmin, Honeywell. Developing relationships with Mike is instrumental in attending conferences, developing relationships with these people, telling them what we're up to, and then saying, how can you help the people of Belize, the students of Belize, get the education they need? This would be an extension of the current vocational training, and it would be aircraft and aviation specific, and it would be placing Belize on the map as a global hub, not only for aircraft repair, but also for vocational curriculum. It all starts here, and it should start here, and you deserve it.
That's fantastic. And since we are wrapping up, I know we wanted to talk more about the training. I would like to know more about the traineeship just because I'm really excited when you have specialized jobs. I really love that. But it is Civil Aviation Week.
It is.
And Civil Aviation Day is the 7th. Do you all have any kind of events and so forth for the week that are leading up to that?
So again, this year is a lot about outreach. We wanted to reach out to several schools this week, so we have that programmed. We wanted to take care of our people. Wellness, health and wellness is something that is very important in aviation. Somebody passes out in an airplane, it's trouble for everybody else, right? So health and wellness is something that is very important, and so we're having a health fair at the airport for our staff and others as well. And again, just general outreach with a lot of schools, bringing some level of an awareness, and hopefully, again, having the impact of aviation reach further than it actually is right now.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you all so much for joining us this morning. I would like for you all to come back and talk more about the traineeship, but we are completely out of time. But thank you so much. Best of luck on your events for this week.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Happy Civil Aviation
Week
Day in advance. And we hope that you guys come back soon with some students, some potential students.
Anytime you want to.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we are going to take the break. And when we return, we're going to be having Prime Minister of Belize, John Briceño, joining us on the show. Stay with us.